Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Christian. I am a play therapist, as Aaron introduced me. And I often get asked, what made you choose play therapy as a specialty? So I was about 23 years old. I just finished graduate school and I take my first job as an elementary school counselor. First week, a kindergartner gets referred to me for throwing blocks and hitting his classmates. Had no experience at the time, had no idea what I was doing. I didn't speak to his teacher. I did not observe him in the classroom, and I did not call his parents. I just brought him into my office. Thought I was important. I had a big fancy desk, and I sit him down, and that is literally what I see, the top of his head. So I have to stand up, and I go very sternly, "Why are you throwing blocks and hitting your friends?" And I would ask, "What do you think he said?" And I'm sure many of you are thinking, "I don't know." And that is exactly what he said. "I don't know." And I realized right then and there on the spot that you cannot sit and have a conversation with a young child. You have to play with them. So I started pursuing training in play therapy. And why do we use play? It is the most developmentally appropriate way for children to express how they feel about themselves, the significant people in their lives, and their experiences. It is the ideal way to establish a rapport and build a relationship with a young child. And research shows that children acquire new social emotional skills more quickly through natural, organic play interactions. So I took a position as a preschool intervention specialist with a public school district here in New Jersey. And that is how I engage children. It's me going down the slide, whether I was on the playground or in the classroom. I engage them in play, and you can see the joy on those children's faces as I'm going down the slide. Children crave and love adult engagement through play. Around the same time, I opened my first private practice in Monmouth County, New Jersey, and where I live and work, where my first office was located. It's a prominent commuter area to New York City, about 45 miles south. And as a result, my first experience with child trauma was September 11th, 2001. My area incurred an inordinate number of losses on the 11th, and I wound up working with about a dozen children who lost parents or family members on that day, and it set the tone for the rest of my career. I became contracted with New Jersey's version of Child Protective Services and continued my work with the preschool program at the public school. I've had the honor over the years to bear witness so many times young children expressing themselves, overcoming adversity, and acquiring new social emotional skills through play. And I'm going to share a few examples. This is a 4-year-old boy who was in a severe auto accident with his mother, and he's playing out his experience in the playroom.
I don't like this. Kaboom.
The car's crashed.
Yeah, but then this came by, and then the hospital guy got out, and then he got me out of the truck. That's what happened to our truck, and then the ambulance came, and then they took me to the hospital, but then it was over. They gave me medicine.
They helped you feel they helped you feel better.
Yeah.
It must have been very scary, Mike.
But I'm okay.
Never ceases to amaze me when I share that video. The 4-year-old's reassuring the adult, "I'm okay. I'm okay." This is Lucy, and Lucy's play is pretty self-explanatory. Her mother was expecting a baby.
Let's see what baby you have to have. Okay.
Out in the mommy's stomach.
Okay, let's get that baby out. Yeah. Little baby kitty.
And you're...
Oh, I hear the baby. Let's get that baby out, Mama. Yeah.
You know how to deliver that baby.
Baby!
And you got the baby polar bear out of the mommy.
Okay, the mommy needs a baby. The mommy needs
So we want the best in life for Lucy, right? Whatever she sets her mind and her heart to, we want her to accomplish great things in life. But if she chooses to become an OBGYN, let's hope that she refines her skill set just a little bit before she goes into practice. So that was Lucy. Um, After 18 years, I retired from my school-based job with the public school for this very reason, which is to share the same play strategies I've utilized as a play therapist in private practice and as a preschool intervention specialist in preschool classrooms for all those years with early childhood educators and providing a lot of PD, as Erin mentioned in her intro. And I am really enjoying this journey. And I like this quote, and I share this with educators. You do not need to be a therapist to be therapeutic. I, in my office here, my playroom, my therapy room, I see a child once a week for 45 minutes, and you all see your students, your young students, for 5 days a week for 6.5 hours. So the impact, the influence that you can have is so great. And your relationship with them may be the most important one that they have in their lives. And research does show that any opportunity that I have to share these strategies and integrate you all into my work, the outcomes are greater. And we know that early adversity is common, unfortunately. So many of you are in programs where you have children who have experienced a lot of early adversity. Throughout my career, whatever setting I've been in, really the focus has been on children who've been exposed to early adversity. And nothing taught us more about the impact of adversity than the period of the pandemic. And I think what it showed us or taught us on a grand scale is how important exposure is for young children, and what many children missed out on, those rich relational experiences, relationships with teachers and peers, opportunities to play, the structure and consistency and predictability that a high quality early childhood program is going to provide. They missed out on all those rich experiences, and as a result, children struggled, and they continue to struggle, and that's the consensus wherever I go these days. And all this occurred during a prolific period of neurodevelopment where you've probably seen this stat before. 90% of the child's brain develops between the birth and age of 5. So all those synaptic connections that mediate all future developmental functioning are established. So a really crucial period. And if children miss out on those opportunities, they're going to enter your programs with different types of developmental challenges. And this is what they need to thrive, of course, right? And I'm going to talk a lot about sense of control this afternoon, particularly in relation to challenging behaviors, as you're going to see. And the foundation of it all is play and relationships. So how do we support children's social emotional learning through play? I'm going to share some strategies. These are developmentally appropriate best practice strategies that do align with all the social emotional domains of the measures that many of you are exposed to or are assessed in your programs. So these are really high quality interactions that maximize those developmental domains. A little bit of guidance. It's important for me to share this, that my expectation or the demands that I'm placing on you and asking you to use or implement these play strategies with intentionality are minimal. You're not, you don't need to carve out extra time during your large group lessons. You're simply just, when you engage children in play, particularly during indoor play, you're going to just use these strategies effortlessly, naturally and organically through your interactions with your students. And you can, as you're going to see some video demonstrations of these strategies, you can apply them individually or in small groups of children. Also important to note that you do not need to spend a lot of time or devote a lot of time to one single individual child. You can exact lasting change and create new behaviors and new skills. Of course, it's cumulative. One interaction doesn't necessarily result in this type of change, but over time, these brief, short interactions, as long as they're rich, are going to have an influence over your students and their acquisition of new skills. So the first strategy I'd like to share is you're going to describe or narrate the child's play while framing what they're doing as a choice or decision. Okay, so you're describing play and you're avoiding asking questions, which we can get into, that often elicits some questions. But the whys are pretty extensive and really important. Attunement essentially is just what that means is that you by describing or narrating a child's play, you are becoming focused on the child's nonverbal communication, which is going to suit you well when you need to set limits and help children start to identify feelings, picking up on the subtle nonverbal communications that children demonstrate in relation to feelings and experiencing them. Speech and language, you're providing a lot of rich speech and language modeling, as you're going to see. You're extending it, lengthening attention span, because that 100% focused attention on the child is more likely to render them, they're going to continue to engage in that play sequence. And so you're lengthening attention span as well. And they're going to internalize choices, which is really important in relation to sense of agency and challenging behaviors that you're going to, again, experience. So here are two video examples of this strategy being used. And just note that I'm just narrating this child who engages me in medical play. I'm not asking him questions. Am I okay? Am I sick? What are you doing? I'm just narrating, and you'll hear me describe the child's play as a decision, I think 2 or 3 times as well in this interaction.
You decided to check my blood pressure. You're wrapping that around my wrist. Trying to make it stay on there. I'd like to make it stay on. Oh, it's still coming off. You're trying so hard. Wow, you did it. You made it stay on. And you decided to squeeze it and check my blood pressure. You're squeezing it.
And I'm going to brush your hair.
And you decided you're going to brush someone's hair.
So it seems like a very simple, and many of you this may seem familiar, but for many educators, it's a strategy that requires some practice, because it may feel a little bit awkward in the beginning, because we're so used to continually asking questions or engaging children. This has been my experience. It's a lot of educators fall into this conversational interaction while playing with a child, as opposed to just falling back on being attuned and narrating what they're experiencing in that moment. This is a really wonderful example of Becker's Erin in a preschool classroom engaging this child in play. And you're going to see everything from her describing play, framing his behavior as a choice. She's going to name colors rather than asking the child, what color is that? She's infusing learning concepts, prepositions next to, and I believe behind, and then acknowledge when the child's challenged by a task, and praising effort, and descriptively praising the child when he is successful in that challenging task. So all that is happening in this brief clip.
You put the elephant on the brown ground. And you put the giraffe next to the people on the green one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're looking for something else. You chose the white horse and the tiger and the goat.
Goat?
Yes, that's the goat. You put the goat behind the elephant. And you're trying hard to put the tiger next to the man. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna move the man. You're trying so hard to put that tiger. You did it! You put the tiger on the green.
That's a wonderful example of what the strategy looks like and all the richness that occurs when you infuse these concepts into an interaction or strategy into an interaction. Next, we want to practice what we call co-regulation. Essentially, this is where attunement comes in handy as well, is what you're doing when you're describing plays. You're becoming really adept at being co-regulating, because you need to describe what it requires is you're naming the child's feelings by describing what is often nonverbal. So you're picking up on the subtlest expressions from a child, their facial expression, their body language, inflections in their tone of voice. And why do we need to do this? Because children are unable to cope with strong feelings independently yet from a neuro standpoint. So they require a supportive, attuned adult to help lessen that intensity. So this is Tristan, and he's in the playroom. I don't show his face in this video, but you're going to hear me describe what I'm seeing. Very simple.
Tristan's arms are folded, and he's got a frown. He looks mad. He wants to play with that phone too.
Okay.
He's mad because he doesn't want to wait.
Right. So I'm attuned, I'm describing, right? And I'm not saying, Tristan, don't be mad. It's not a big deal. You'll get the toy. No, I'm validating and acknowledging his legitimacy of what he's feeling. And I'm describing it. Your arms are folded. You've got a frown. And if you noticed, I prompted his sister off camera to name her brother's feeling. I could have co-regulated him and named his feeling, but what is even more desirable, and this is something that when I'm in preschool classrooms, it's my priority or my objective. I want children interacting with each other. So it was better for her to look at her brother, because why? Young children are egocentric and self-centered, and they have to learn that they're not the only ones having a feeling or experiencing feelings. Others do as well. So I want her to read her brother's facial expression, and she said he's mad. Right. So that is something that, let's hypothetically say there's a child that's crying against the fence, outdoor play. I will find the nearest child or the child that needs to learn this strategy the most or develop this skill the most and say, come with me, look at her face. How does she feel? So now he has to look at her face and identify or name her feeling. She's sad. What could you do to make her feel better? Does the child have a solution? If not, we're going to scaffold and prompt. Ask her, say, will you play with me? And then the child says, will you play with me? And 9 times out of 10, she's going to say yes. And then you praise. You asked your friend to play with you, and she's smiling. She feels happy. That was really kind of you. So those are the rich interactions that we want in the classroom or out on the playground between kids. Get them to start noticing others' feeling states as well. This is a good definition of a co-regulation. When a child's feelings are acknowledged and accepted by a supportive adult, they're experienced with less intensity by the child. That's co-regulation. We also, kind of to piggyback on the concept I just shared, we want to facilitate interactions and teach children new skills. So this is a scenario, this is a situation that happens pretty much every day in your classrooms. The only issue is you don't always see this happening. But if you do, it's really imperative that we support the child in that moment. So you're going to see me start with co-regulation. I'm acknowledging, I'm describing what I'm seeing, and I name his feelings, and then we go from there.
Your arms are folded. You look upset. You're disappointed. Come back here and we'll solve the problem.
Don't put here.
Oh, you're upset because he's not sharing. And that's why your arms are folded. Come back here. Come back here. We'll solve the problem. Come here.
So I harassed this child and chased him around the classroom, but it was important for me to do that. And it's important for you to do that as well when you see this happening. Because if you think about his reaction, if I hadn't noticed his dysregulation in that moment, he might have run out of the room. He might have knocked items off of a shelf. He may have hit another child. He may have gone up and hit you, and as an intervention person, well, what happened just before the child hit you? Well, nothing. Well, there's almost always a precursor to a child's aggressive behavior. A lot of times it's a result of two children who need to develop a social skill. So I brought him back. I identified your arms are folded. You look upset, disappointed. And then we identified what the problem was. He said he won't share, right? And then we identify a solution. We could use visuals, but in this case, with this child, cognitively, I was able to guide him verbally through this process. So I prompted him, come, let's go back to your friend, and I gave him the language, say, can I play with you? And he asked, and this is the outcome this is the descriptive praise statement of the outcome. The other child said yes, and they resumed playing together. This is important though. You're going to hear this is very short, but you're going to hear me use the word choice twice in this descriptive praise statement.
You guys chose to share all those animals. What a great choice you made.
So everything is a choice, and we can infuse that that understanding that what children do is a choice, that they have a sense of agency or control over their behavior, that they make choices. And just through these natural interactions, they're going to internalize choice. We can also build resilience and support self-regulation. Self-regulation is really an important emotional capacity that post-pandemic, I hear, no matter where I go, that more and more children are struggling with the ability to regulate their emotions, and impulse control, frustration tolerance, delaying gratification. All those are important capacities, and we can support them through play. And so here are some examples I'm going to share, but this is interesting research, and you've probably seen this, that the ability to regulate emotions in preschool predicts how children are going to do later on in life academically. So that's always a priority for me, whether I'm here in my playroom or I'm in a preschool classroom. I'm looking for, how does a child tolerate frustration, particularly when they're challenged by a task? So we are going to, through that attunement piece, when a child is challenged by a task, we are going to support them with the least amount of, we're going to ensure that they're successful with the least amount of support, right? So we don't want to perform the task for the child, and we don't want to do too little, because we want the child to stay regulated, right? We don't want the child overwhelmed. Here's an example in a classroom. This child approached me with a doll and asked me to put the shoes on the doll. You're going to hear me. I'm going to return responsibility back to the child, because I want them to try and attempt a challenging task. And then I'm going to make sure that they're successful by supporting just enough. So for me, it could be verbal, or it could be verbal or physical support. And in this case, I offer physical support. I say, I'll hold the doll and you put the shoes on the baby.
You'd like to put those shoes on the baby. That's something that you can try to do. I'll hold the baby. Trying so hard, and you're not giving up. Oh, it fell. Picked it up, and you're still trying. You're really concentrating. You did it. You got both shoes on the baby, all by yourself.
There.
You did. You're welcome.
That's what we want to aspire to. We want to empower children to attempt hard things, and they'll internalize that, as you're going to see as we close out this session today. Stress in tolerable doses, that's what builds resilience. So again, we don't want to do too little, and because the child is more likely to become dysregulated and overwhelmed. They're going to give up, and it could lead them to not attempting challenging tasks, because it makes them feel uncomfortable from a physiological standpoint. So we want them to be successful, but experience that in tolerable doses. That leads us to the limit setting strategy itself in relation to challenging behaviors. In one sentence, it's a strategy that uses a choice and a natural consequence. So this is where you're going to see how describing play while framing what the child is doing as a choice and infusing choices throughout the day, they've internalized choices, right? So they're going to be more responsive to limits. How is it developmentally appropriate? At around the age of 3, many children younger, they've developed the cognitive ability to distinguish between two choices. So this is developmentally the most appropriate approach to managing challenging behaviors for children who are at that developmental level. This is the beauty of doing it through play, is that the child is mostly regulated. One of the classic definitions of play always includes that it's pleasurable, innately pleasurable, right? Children are motivated to engage in play because it's so natural for them. So they're engaging in play because it's fun for them, but then they're going to be motivated to continue that activity. So it's going to make the limit setting strategy more effective. And they've internalized those choices, as I've referenced, and it makes natural consequences more intuitive for you, because the natural consequence is most likely going to be the loss of the toy or item or that activity that they're involved in that moment. So these are the behaviors that warrant limit setting. Of course, physical aggression, rough use of toys, anything that's potentially dangerous, like throwing objects, standing on a chair, etc. And then prohibited behaviors during play. What that refers to are rules that you have in your classroom that revolve around play. Very common ones, for example, sand and water stay in their respective bins, right? So then you can set limits around the use of sand and water. That's just one example. Blocks stay on the floor, etc. So this is the limit setting strategies in writing, spelled out. I'm going to read it so you just get a sense of what the language sounds like. It looks like a lot, but you're going to see how you're going to infuse this when we practice in some of the video examples, that it's really just a natural progression of responding to the child in that moment, but infusing these concepts into the strategy. Christian, you're frustrated. You want the toy, but you hit your friend. You can ask for a turn instead. If you choose to hit your friend again, you'll need to choose another area to play. And then you're either going to use that descriptive praise with enthusiasm, or you're going to enforce that natural consequence. You asked for a turn, or you chose to hit your friend again, so you need to choose another area to play. I've added number 7 because I think this is important. And remember that the concept of or the dynamic of choice and control. A lot of children, this is very common, they push back in response to a natural consequence. Children don't like consequences. So that often results in dysregulation and a conflict between you and the child. This is important too. Many children who've been exposed to adversity, central, I think, to their experience is that they have no control over their lives, right? So, so returning some control back to the child can be really influential, particularly for kids who've been exposed to adversity. So, after you've enforced that consequence, you need to choose another area to play, but you can choose blocks for dramatic play. Where do you choose to go? So returning control back to the child. So here are some video examples. Very brief limit setting statement. Sand and water, right? Stay in the bin. These children spilled it accidentally. We still want to set a limit because we're helping support their ability to regulate themselves, not become overstimulated, and body spatial awareness and impulse control. All those capacities are being supported through through setting limits in these circumstances.
No.
I know you guys are having fun in the sand, but the sand needs to stay inside the box. If you choose to spill the sand again, you're going to have to leave and choose another area to play.
Okay, simple. I know you're having fun. That's the co-regulation. Even though it's a positive emotion, I'm still acknowledging it. I know you're having fun, but the sand stays inside the box. Tell them what they need to do. If you choose to spill the sand again, you'll need to choose another area to play, right? Very simple. That's how we want to communicate limits with children. Here's a teacher in a preschool classroom setting a limit with a child who's tossing blocks.
Oh, you chose to put the green in the middle of the pink. Ooh, Promise put 4 pink blocks on the green cylinder.
Green cylinder.
The green cylinder. And they all fit together. Promise chose to throw the block. Listen, the blocks are not for throwing. If you choose to throw the blocks, you choose to be done at blocks. Look at me. If you choose to throw the blocks, you choose to be done at blocks. Okay? Thank you.
Let's build it.
Yes, we can build. Blocks are for building. Yep, let's build it again.
So that strategy is new for this teacher, and she's trying to use it with intentionality. I like that she gained the child's attention, and she told the child what she needed to do, what the blocks were for. So that's another example. Regulation depends on a gentle tone of voice and consistent, predictable interactions by patient-safe adults. What that means is when we set a limit, no matter how strong our reaction might be. And like most of you logged on today, I've been hit, I've been punched, I've been kicked, I've been scratched, I've been spit on, I've had my hair pulled many, many times. And it is important for us to remain regulated in the wake of those, in response to those behaviors. Because if we raise our level of intensity, we're only going to raise the child's. So there's so much more to this strategy, but it's important for us to be self-aware and regulated as well. It's not always easy. I get it. One more example. This is Gabriella, and she was in foster care, exposed to a lot of adversity, and she created this game, self-initiated. I didn't guide or direct her, where she would trace around my fingers with a marker. And she did this many, many times over the course of several months. Every session, she would do this at some point.
So you decided you want to draw my hand,
Yeah.
around my hand, without touching it. That's the rule. Around my thumb. You're going around the other finger. And again. You're going around all my fingers to the other side.
And now.
And now you're going to... Gabriella, you just wrote on my hand. I'm not for writing on. If you choose to write on me again, I have to take away the markers for the rest of our time. I know you're having fun, but I'm not for writing on.
Black.
Okay, you chose black this time. Took the cap off. And you wrote on my hand again. Gabriella, you chose to write on my hand again, so I have to take away the markers for the rest of our time. You get a chance to use them next time.
I won't do it again.
But you want me to know that you won't do it again, but you chose to write on me again. So, no more markers for today, but you'll get a chance next time.
No.
I know you want to keep playing with the markers, but you need to take them away.
So I would ask you all, why would she draw on my hand intentionally over and over, knowing that I was going to take the markers from her as a consequence? And I'm sure that most of you are going to say maybe she did it for attention. She did it to test me. She wanted to see if I would react or follow through. Maybe seeking connection. I would say a combination of all of those elements are motivating her to write on my hand. But the last session, Gabriella made this card for me, and she drew a picture of a cat. As you can see, we wrote our names in crayon, and on the inside she wrote, "I love you because you keep me safe." Really powerful. And Gabriella, as I mentioned, she was exposed to a lot of early adversity. She was raised in a chaotic, unstable, inconsistent environment. She was removed from the care of her parents and placed in foster care. Very scary world for a child. And so what she taught us, and what she's teaching us all, is that children need limits for psychological, emotional, and of course, physical safety. The absence of limits for a young child it's a scary world for them. So she created this interaction intuitively, which is I'm always amazed when I share this this example, that a young child could come up with something so powerful in order to get what she so desperately needed from an emotional standpoint. For our physiology to calm down, heal, and grow, children need a feeling of safety. No doctor can write a prescription for love. So now we're going to practice. And now I need to figure out, because I can't see myself on here.
Christian, why don't you go ahead and stop sharing? That'll be perfect.
Okay.
because that way maybe we can get rid of those background things anyway. And I'm going to do a quick summary because you're going to reposition over to your table, right?
Yes. Yep. Doing that now.
Awesome. So while he does that, there was so much powerful content in those play skills. Let's do a quick little recap. So the first skill Christian mentioned was attunement, which is just making sure that your body position is at the child's level. So if they're on the floor, you're on the floor. And if anything, a little bit lower. And that your body has like an open stance to it. So you have an open, neutral, calm, curious, physical presence next to or near the child. And then in response to their verbal play, you have a matched affect. And then he mentioned describing play and describing it as a choice. And I'm going to focus on reiterating the reason why you describe the child's play as a choice is to build that internal locus of control, that sense of I have confidence and control. And then it's also so that when you describe their actions as a choice, when you're setting a limit, they're used to hearing you say that. They're used to accepting their actions being described as their choice. So let's take a minute, like, let's let that piece of this sink in. When you say you chose the tall rectangular block and you chose and you decided to, and they've heard that then frequently. Yeah, you're right. No, I chose to pick up this puppet. I chose to pick up that one. So they've heard you say that over and over. And then just as calmly and pleasantly, you all commented that in the chat, when you're setting a limit and you say, you chose to write on my hand, you're saying it in the same way that you described their choice of play. So that is such a powerful scaffolding and skill building. When you describe their play as a choice, then they're ready for it when you are describing their behaviors that you need to set a limit on as a choice. So just a couple of key things that are like mic drop, like, okay, let's let those sink in before we get into some of this practice. So Christian, I think we had some tech difficulties with our volunteers, so they weren't able to join with their video and audio. I know, and we were really excited too. So Rachel, though, has volunteered to be our guest limit setter. So Christian, do you want to give her some directions about what she should do right now?
Yes, Rachel.
Go like this.
No, we're going to have fun. And I appreciate you doing this.
Definitely.
I've got some play materials here, as you can see, I hope. And I'm going to engage these materials and just play, and you're going to set limits on my behavior. And we'll do this together. I'll prompt you if as needed, but I'm going to start with blocks. Okay, I have some wooden blocks here.
Oh, Christian, I see you're building. Do I use I? Can I use I? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. I just narrate what you're seeing. You chose the
Christian, you chose the red rectangle and the green cylinder. You're putting the green cylinder on top. Oh my goodness. Oh, Christian, our blocks stay on the table. If you choose to throw the blocks, we'll put them away for today.
That was very co-regulating. I like that. So that was great. You stated what I needed to do, right? The blocks are for stacking. If you choose to throw them again. Now, I'm glad we're getting this out of the way for everyone, is when you set a limit, and this is such a common habit that just about everybody makes or has, is when you set a limit, you want to avoid using we. Because when you use we, you're including yourself in the behavior. And so how many times have we all heard, we don't hit our friends, right?
Well, I'm not hitting my friends, you did. So why did I say we? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. What has more influence? We don't hit our friends, you chose to hit your friend.
Yeah.
Right. So place the response. It's part of the, it's not being harsh. It's just matter of fact, you chose to hit your friend, not we don't hit our friends. Right. So I threw the block the first time. Self-correction, which is an important part of this strategy. So I'm going to continue to build. You chose this, if you choose to throw the blocks again, no more blocks for today. So I'm going to continue.
Christian, you're choosing to Keep the blocks on the table. Christian, you chose to throw the blocks. The blocks will be put away for the day. You will have the choice for the blocks again tomorrow.
Good. And remember, give me another choice. So
Oh, yeah.
you chose to throw the blocks again, so no more blocks for today. But you can choose.
You can choose the art center or the dramatic play center.
Here you go. Which do you choose? Now, what about the blocks I just threw? Do I need to pick them up?
So, as a special educator, I think my answer would be it depends on the child and their body language at that moment. I typically would have limit set and said, first we pick the blocks up, then you can choose the dramatic play center or the art center. Again, it just depends on how escalated we got, though.
Well, that's an important question.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that up. So you can choose dramatic play or art, but before you choose, let's go pick up those blocks together. And again, it is how you communicate that next step. It can determine the child's reaction.
Mhm.
If you're harsh and you're punitive and you're annoyed, or your voice is raised and you're not regulated, I need you to pick up those blocks you threw. That wasn't nice. You almost hurt your friend. If that's the tone of voice you're using, you are going to get a child that's going to push back, right, and be resistant. Before you make that choice, come on, let's go pick those up together. I'm so proud of you. You picked the blocks up. Now, where do you choose to go? Art or dramatic play? Where do you want to go? Where do you choose? If I am dysregulated, right, because I started to become frustrated because I was trying to stack them into a tower and I couldn't do it, and that's what caused me to become dysregulated, then I can see you're having a strong feeling. This is your expertise, you guys.
Yep.
Beckers, let's go to the calm down area together. I'm so proud of you. Your body's calm. Now let's go pick up those blocks and you can make another choice, right? All right, let's do another one. Glue stick.
Christian, you're putting your glue on your paper.
Pom-poms.
Pom-poms. You're gluing your pom-pom onto your paper. Our glue is for our paper only, your paper only, Christian. If you put the glue on your lips, you'll put the glue away for today. We'll have it out again tomorrow.
Get my attention, Christian. The glue stick belongs
on the paper.
If you choose to
put it on your mouth, you will put the glue stick away today.
There you go. Or no more glue stick for today. Great.
Christian, the glue stays on the paper.
The second one, you chose to.
Christian, you chose to put the glue in your mouth. You will put the glue away. We can have that choice again tomorrow.
You can choose.
Yeah. You can choose to go to the dramatic play center or the block center. Or back to blocks, but we already lost our blocks for today. What are we doing now?
You chose to put the glue on your mouth again, so no more glue for today. You can choose blocks or sand and water. Where do you choose to go? Right.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to say, and I just lost it. But
all you can taste is the glue.
oh, this is it. So this is important. Preschool classrooms, there's morning and afternoon play, right? So what we want is if I put the glue stick on my mouth in the morning, you'll get a chance. No more glue stick for the rest of the morning. You can choose it in the afternoon, like. Or if I do it in the afternoon, no more glue stick for the rest of the day. You can choose it tomorrow. So we never want the consequence to last beyond that current day, right?
Yep.
Okay. Some liquid glue. I like art. I'm very creative.
I gotta repin you. It's not Aaron's thing came up. I can't see you as strong.
Oh, hold on. Let me stop sharing. I want her to be able to see you. Stop sharing. I just wanted to let everyone know that we have the sequence of the handout of these instructions, which is so helpful. Rachel, you're doing amazing at this, given the fact that you don't have the sequence there. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay.
There you go.
All right, glue.
Christian, you're putting your glue on the paper. Our glue stays on the paper. If you put your glue on your head, you'll put the glue away for today.
Right, the glue belongs on the paper. If you choose to put it in your
hair, you will put the glue away for today.
There you go. But kids are smart, and I'm smart, and I know how to try to push limits. So I'm going to continue to use the
Yep.
glue.
Your glue stays on the paper only, Christian. If your glue
Let me
goes,
stop you. Final limit. You
yeah,
chose to.
yeah. So it's hard because I gave the limit of the hair, but I didn't say mouth.
Well, this is exactly.
Yeah, and they outsmarted
I
me.
didn't put it in my hair this time,
Yeah.
but that's what kids do. So I know what I'm doing. I'm testing you.
Yep.
So you're still going to enforce the consequence. You chose to put the glue on your face again. So no more glue for today. You can choose it tomorrow. Blocks or dramatic play are open. Where do you choose to go? Right. Or you could just take the glue. The glue could be the consequence. No more glue, but you can continue to play in art. Right. Okay.
I'm not the only one. We have all the people in the chat saying, I can't believe he just put that in his mouth. It's hard to think about the rest of it.
We're going to do one more.
Oh, no.
I've got bubbles. Kids love bubbles.
Let's take a minute though. Real good.
Go
Let's
ahead.
take a minute. Can you scaffold this for all of us, Christian, because Rachel's done some really great examples here, right? So she's watching you play. She's watching you play. What's the first thing she should do when you do something shocking? What's the first thing she should do?
Remain calm.
Remain calm and then get your attention, right?
Yes,
So,
remain calm. And so it's important to remain calm and co-regulating, right? Because if we overreact or react strongly, which is it's human, it's our nature to react strongly to a provocative behavior that a child exhibits. So it's important for us to remain calm. And a lot of this comes with experience. As I mentioned, I have other examples that, because we're limited with time today, that you all have, some of you the panelists have seen. But the many times I've been hit and physically hit by children, I remain calm, and that comes with experience and understanding that it's not about me. The behavior is not about me. The child's aggression is due to a list of other reasons, and so our reactions are really important. And if we're going to support the child's acquisition of a new skill, it could be any number of things like attachment issues. Children can often be aggressive towards a teacher that they feel safest with. So there are so many different reasons. And to me, that's what's interesting about challenging behaviors is that the child is going to teach us teach us a lot through our relationship with them.
awesome. Sorry, you can go playing again. I just wanted to give Rachel a second to reset.
Oh, you're blowing bubbles. They're floating all over the room. Bubbles are for blowing. When you put your bubbles in your mouth, we'll have to put it away for today. We can try again tomorrow. Wow, you actually just blew bubbles.
All right,
I wouldn't be able to not laugh at that. Sorry.
let's start again, because you habit.
Yeah,
Christian,
yeah.
Christian, the bubbles are for?
Christian, the bubbles are for blowing.
If you choose to
drink the bubbles, you'll put them away today. You can try again tomorrow.
There you go. My friend, cheers.
Christian, put the bubbles away. We will try again tomorrow. Bubbles are for blowing only.
You chose to?
You chose to drink the bubbles.
You chose to drink the bubbles again. So no more bubbles.
You didn't do this much last time.
I left my water over there. This isn't good.
Christian, you
That was free.
chose to
move
drink
Christian,
the bubbles.
Christian, you chose to drink the bubbles. The bubbles are put away for today. You
No
can
more
choose
bubbles
to
for
go-
today.
No more bubbles for today. You can choose to go to the Dramatic Play Center or the Block Center. Where would you like to go?
So you see how this is why I'm trying to shock you, because I want you. This is a strategy that you can see requires practice, repetition, and it has to become a reflex. The language just has to come out, right? The bubbles are for the bubbles are for blowing. If you choose to drink the bubbles again, I can't talk. I forgot to drink my water.
I'm drinking my drink, and I didn't even drink bubbles, and I can't.
The bubbles are for blowing. If you choose to drink them again, I'll need to take them away. Right. You chose to drink the bubbles again, so no more bubbles for today. You can choose, art or computer. Where do you choose to go?
Christian, that was so powerful. And we do have questions, but you have a really strong finish to your presentation. So I want to let you continue on with your finish, but just to everyone to say that this is a practice, like just like in your professional practice of anything else you do as an educator, it takes courage to try the first time and be horrible at it. And then to keep trying and to keep trying and to catch yourself saying we, or to catch yourself with your tone. So please keep trying. You guys did great. Okay, go ahead, Christian.
Okay. I'm going to try this again because it froze on me. All right. Technical difficulties. Okay. Okay, so to wrap up, this is our goal, right? As teachers and those of you who are parents, we want to raise and teach children who are confident, empowered, independent, and of course, emotionally resilient. We want them to be prepared to take on life's challenges. As children leave preschool, the academic demands get greater. And so this is the period in their neurodevelopment where we can empower them with the sense of confidence that they can try hard things and internalize that message, which is going to suit them well as they get older. So here are some examples of children who have internalized the importance of hard work and not giving up. And so that self-regulation, all these strategies are a culmination of what you're seeing in these next few videos. But these children have heard, you're going to hear, it's very clear, the message, they've internalized the message that I've communicated over and over, that you don't give up when something is difficult, right? You keep trying, we reinforce effort.
You're working so hard on your picture. And now you chose another color blue. You decided to add that next to the yellow.
The under.
And under. You have a plan.
Yep. I'm working so hard.
You are working so hard. Concentrating, and you're being very careful about which colors you want to choose and add to your picture.
I had to work hard.
I can't get enough of watching that video.
I know.
She's internalized that message, and that's empowering a child with a sense of resilience, and that is what I want to do here in this playroom, and I want you guys all doing in your classrooms with your students, empowering them with that message and have them internalize it. So here's a young 3-year-old trying to get a roof on an airplane.
You're trying.
I can do it. I can do it.
You don't think you can do it, but I think you can if you try.
Oh man.
You can do it.
I can do it.
I know you can do it.
Zero.
Almost. Oh, let's try it again. You can do it. Keep trying.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
You did it. Give me 5. You did it. All by yourself. You got that roof on.
That is a preschool age child. This is, the first child, she was 6 maybe, so kindergarten age. But this is a 3-year-old who's internalizing that message, right? I got it. I got it. I got it. Even before he was close to getting that the roof on. So these are some final messages. Relationships are the agent of change. The most powerful therapy is human love. Your relationship with your students may be the most important ones that they have. And my message to you, use your personality, your smile, your voice, your touch. You, the teacher, are the most powerful learning tool. And this is the climate that I hope that you create in your classrooms. It's something that I aspire to, because relationships are the foundation of everything that I do as a play therapist, whether I'm in, regardless of setting, whether I'm here in my office or I'm in a classroom. My objective is to build relationships with children. So this is my hope for you, the climate that you create for you, for your students in your class.
This is a building for kids to be happy because you're here. And you make me happy, Mr. Christian.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm here. Let's get into questions or whatever, however you all want to.
Who was the comment that this is better than White Lotus? I think I was cringing and laughing up, and now I feel like I'm tearing up with those last 3 videos. So talk about an emotional roller coaster, Christian. Wow. Thank you. Yes. How sweet were those last videos? I mean, thank you. That was incredibly powerful. Much appreciated. This intentionally was a quick overview. Yes, right. A quick overview of the power of intentional play skills combined with child-led play. So Christian does have a good amount of other ways that you can learn more. So Christian, do you want to describe just a couple things that you do to help educators and programs take this work further?
Sure. So I have really taken to providing professional development for Head Starts and school districts and other agencies. My focus is early childhood. I intentionally, when I sought out this work, it was my commitment has been to early childhood educators. I have no desire to train other play therapists. Sorry, play therapists that are out there. There are a million other people that can do it better than I can. My passion is early childhood education. I think that teachers, you have such hard jobs, and all those years I spent in classrooms, I witnessed it firsthand. So my objective is to empower you with this skill set that really I think are important strategies that are going to and make your jobs more rich and joyful and satisfying. And you're also going to support your students' development, which is why you're doing it also. So with that said, I provide professional development around the country, and I've created an online course that contains that's play-based as well. So it's a complement to my professional development. So yeah, that's the 2 main services that I'm providing these days, and yeah, I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Awesome. Well, we're going to hopefully get to a couple of questions, but I did just want to say, because we could go on for a long time about this topic, please do go seek out Christian's additional resources. We have compiled a lot of them, our play therapy blog, the limit setting blog, this presentation and the handouts all on our landing page. Thank you, Marilyn. Just put that in the chat. And then also Christian's Play to Grow program is a place for educators to ask those, well, what if this and what if that? And how about this? And then what if I try that? Because again, this is a practice that once you start, you will open up a million more questions about how can we do this. So Christine, if I could just ask you, I thank you for sharing them. What's like a repeated question that, like, if we can get 1 or 2, it'll address several questions.
So I think a common question was, what happens when the limit setting isn't received so smoothly? So some of the questions were, what happens if this causes a meltdown or the child begins to kind of escalate or be more destructive? What happens if the limit setting causes a child to be aggressive? That was,
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer because there's so much context that's missing that I would need to know and see. When I provide the longer session around challenging behaviors, I really go into detail of what I call preventive strategies, and those are fundamental, developmentally appropriate best practice strategies that should be in place in your classrooms. But unfortunately, there are classrooms where those strategies may be lacking, like using a visual schedule with consistency, structured transitions, the use of a visual timer to facilitate transitions, the quality of the relationship between the teacher and the child. And then there are other staff members, right? You've got often a co-teacher or float, people coming in and out of the classroom. If everyone's not on the same page, you're less likely to have these optimal kinds of responses. But my career, as I mentioned, has been devoted to children who destroy trash classrooms and throw chairs and knock over bookshelves. So I've been there just like the rest of you. The only way you're going to get that child to get to that place where they accept a limit and a consequence is by being consistent, predictable, co-regulating, all those things that they seem easy to do, but they just require a lot of practice and consistency, and the child will get there. But I've seen it so many times that the child that everyone's walking on eggshells because they're afraid to set the child off, and that just exacerbates the whole situation as well. So there's so much that, and that's part of what I do when I go into preschool classroom is provide that set of eyes and that perspective of let's talk this through. But there's so much context, like I said, around it. But remain co-regulating, consistent, praise the heck out of that child that is aggressive or responds with that strong reaction. Descriptive praise when they are appropriate. Communicate clear expectations throughout the day. Give that child a sense of control, especially if that child has been exposed to adversity. You need to empower them with a sense of control. The stronger your relationship and rapport with that child, the less likely they are to have that strong reaction. It's a hard question to answer without all those other things being in place and knowing that they are.
And also, though, Christian, a reason for you advocating to set limits in low stakes play situation. So if you can set a child up, they repeatedly visit a certain play center, and there's a certain rule that they are, the expectation of playing in that play center, you can set limits and then follow through when it's low stakes, right? And then the child has a greater chance of accepting that because
100%.
they received it in low stakes versus the supercharged, my favorite, and then suddenly it's explosive behaviors.
Absolutely. And that's why I focus where this is about. The topic is setting limits through play, or one of the strategies, because again, when you're setting limits through play, the child's going to be more motivated to comply or make that the desired choice, because they're motivated to continue that activity. But then if you have to go attend to a group of other students, then you circle back to that child and you're going to use that praise. Wow, you're keeping the blocks on the floor. You're making such a great choice. I'm so proud of you, buddy. And you're pairing that descriptive praise with expression of physical affection. So you're building that relationship, but you're doing it through play, so that when the time comes, if you have to set a limit outside of a play situation, it's been rehearsed, it's been internalized. The child knows exactly the language that's going to be delivered to them, and that's the key too, is being consistent, so the child knows exactly what is expected. I know how my teacher is going to respond in this moment. And then when you throw in the layer of children who've been exposed to adversity, these strategies become even more important, really crucial, actually.
Yeah. And we so appreciate the continued enthusiasm, but we understand that many of you have classrooms and programs to get back to. So yes, Amy, if you click on the link that's in the chat, Christine, if you can put it in again for me. And then on the submission page, you will see click here for your certificate. So for those of you who are on our email list, you will also get an email tomorrow because you registered for this and you are on our email list, and you will have your certificate in that email. But for those of you who love instant gratification, boom, answer those 4 quick questions, and then you'll be able to get your certificate on the confirmation page. So this has been an intentional part of our 5-part series on supporting self-regulation, including sensory and emotional regulation in young children. So we kicked it off in January. with an overview, and then we welcomed an occupational therapist, a speech language pathologist, and now Christian today, a registered play therapist, to really dive into those targeted strategies. But we've learned that these don't need to stay in a therapy room, right, Christian? These can be generalized to educators. Yeah, so that's what we're going to unpack in May is we are going to bring this all together and we're going to focus on these strategies that we can use. Every educator, home educator, parent, we can use them with young children to really strengthen their self-regulation skills, to build those social emotional skills, to set them up for future life success. So thank you everyone for joining us. We so appreciate you here. Oh, I saw some people saw Quincy in the background. Do you want to explain who Quincy is?
He's stealing puppets. He sneaks in here. This is Quincy, and he's a mini Labradoodle. And I got him. He's going to be trained as a therapy dog, so he comes with me to my office every day.
That's amazing.
And he
I love
actually
that.
behaved through the whole this whole session. So
Yes.
he gets extra treats today.
Positive descriptive praise for Quincy. I love it. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Marilyn, for keeping us well supported with the place to follow up to learn more. It's been a pleasure to have you. We're just going to hang on as a Becker's crew for just a little bit if there are questions about how to access the evaluation or how to learn more. Thank you, Laura. We appreciate you having you. Tracy has a mini golden doodle. They look like twins, she said. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Tracy. This was amazing, right? You guys aren't going to look at a glue stick or a container of bubbles in the same way ever again in your life. Hopefully this has inspired you to practice some of these strategies in your own settings. And again, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your investment of time. We know how precious it is. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Amy. And if you guys have any parting questions for Christian, we will certainly pass them along to him. And again, you'll be able to find more information on that landing page for today's webinar. So Simone, it should have been on the submission confirmation page. It looks like this. After you submit the evaluation, if for some reason that didn't pop up for you, again, because you registered for the webinar, you'll be getting it in your email tomorrow. Thanks, Naomi. Thanks, Rose. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Thanks, Myra. Yeah, Lisa. We hope we answered some of your questions for the toddler teachers, but all of the same play skills apply when it comes to attunement, describing play as a decision or a choice, and staying calm and co-regulating. All of that is exactly the same for toddlers. The limit setting is a little bit different based on their cognitive ability, their ability to participate in symbolic play to begin with, but the core components are all the same for toddlers as well. Christine, do you have that queued up one more time that you can copy and paste? Thank you. There you go. That's the evaluation form in the chat. And happy Work Together Wednesday, everybody. We hope we've had a great week of the Young Child celebration in your programs. And just for those who are still on, the resources that are available, it's a 2-page guide for that limit setting steps. We included the first page with the example script of walking Christian through that limit setting process. Clearly, he needs repeated practice because he tends to repeat these behaviors over and over again. And then on the second page of that handout, we left them blank because as Rachel can attest, it takes repeated practice of going through those steps. Like, oh, right, first I need to get their attention. Then I need to state the desired behavior. What's the allowed? Right? So going through those and then practicing with the child is really critical. So that guide hopefully will help you. And then the same reflection guides that we've had for the other series, we have again to just kind of walk you through that process of what are these skills and how can I implement them in my classroom.